This is a chocolate bar. It weighs 30 grams. And this is a 4K Whoop. Yep, same weight. The smallest DJI O4 Whoop yet. But is it actually any good? I built it, flew it, and maybe kinda fell in love. Quick shout out to BetaFPV for sending over the Meteor65 Pro for testing. Totally free of charge. Big thanks to them for making this video possible. Just so you know, I'm not being paid or sponsored. They just sent the quad so I could try it out and share my honest thoughts with you guys. Okay, let's dive in and see what's inside the box. This isn't the version with the DJI O4 already installed, but BetaFPV includes everything you need. You're getting a camera mount with screws, gummies, and all the bits you'll need to soft mount the O4. There's a smaller, shorter UFL antenna made for the DJI unit, a few extra props, a standard screwdriver, even though some screws are hex, a shorter cable for connecting the Matrix 1S flight controller to the Air unit, a USB adapter board for the FC, the dedicated DJI O4 canopy, and of course, the Whoop itself. There's no charger in the box, just so you know. Personally, I'm using the Firefly Whoop store. Lets you charge up to 8 packs at once, and you can power it via a barrel plug or an XT60 LiPo. Perfect for field charging. If you want something even more compact, I'll link a tiny dual USB charger in the description too. Now, let's talk about the specs of this thing. The Meteor65 Pro is running the brand new Matrix 1S flight controller, specifically designed for the DJI O4 Lite. It's got a beefy 5 volts, 3 amps BEC, which is more than enough to keep the O4 happy, even on a single cell battery. Technically, the O4 supports 1S to 3S, but let's be honest, it doesn't love low voltage. Underneath, we've got tiny 08, 02 SE motors spinning at 19,500 kV. Absolutely tiny. I think SE stands for Special Edition, but hey, if you've got a better idea, drop it in the comments. Weight-wise, the quad comes in at 28 grams dry. With a 300 mAh power pack, we're sitting right at 36 grams. For comparison, the analog Meteor65 Pro from 2022 weighed just 23 grams. So we're talking a 5 gram difference, which doesn't sound like a lot, until you realize that's almost 18% more weight. Yeah, that can definitely make a difference in flight feel. Still, I'm curious to see how it handles. 28 grams dry is honestly pretty respectable, considering what this little guy is packing. We're talking about a full 4K camera on board. That would have blown our minds just a few years ago. One nice touch, the BT 2.0 connector is angled now, way more practical than the one on the Satis X, where the cable always got pinched or bent. The frame feels solid too. It's got enough flex to absorb crashes without snapping, but it's stiff enough to give you decent performance. Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if this frame outlives the DJI O4 itself. Speaking of the O4, reinforced it. That thing is fragile, and if you crash, it'll break faster than you can say, failsafe. I've already shown how to protect it in my other videos. Check the info card up top for that. And man, this thing is tiny. My smallest Whoop before this was the Firefly Nano. And just look at the wheelbase difference. Same wheelbase as the Meteor65 Pro, but the prop guards make it feel much bigger. Now line it up next to the Meteor65, and suddenly it's clear. This thing is next level small. Makes me wonder, how much smaller can we actually go? Alright, enough talking, let's get into the actual build. Well, build might be a bit of an overstatement, since this is the PMP version, meaning no DJI O4 installed. We'll need to add that ourselves. But it doesn't take long to get the O4 installed, just a few minutes really. The only tricky part is mounting the O4 camera with those tiny little soft mounts. They're super small and a bit finicky to work with. But other than that, the whole install is pretty straightforward. There's no printed manual in the box, but honestly, the pictures from BetaFPV are more than enough. Just pop off the original DJI antenna, install the shorter one, flip the camera into the mount, swap out the screws, throw on the O4 and the canopy, and you're good to go. Alright, first off, I gotta say, I'm honestly blown away by how this little guy flies. I mean, finally, we've got a proper DJI HD Whoop, and not just that crystal clear live feed, we're also getting full-on 4K recording. For me personally, this feels kinda like a dream come true. I've got a bunch of analog Whoops lying around, but I really don't enjoy flying them anymore. 1, I gotta carry around a second pair of goggles, and 2, that analog feed, I can barely see what's going on. Maybe it's because I've only got beginner level goggles, but honestly, I never felt like dropping a ton of cash on analog gear. Back to the Whoop. This thing's just fun. On a single battery, I'm getting around 2 minutes of flight time. Of course, that really depends on how you fly. If you're just cruising around, you'll get more. If you're going full send, not so much. Personally, I fly my packs down to about 3.25 volts. I'd rather land early than fry a battery just for 10 extra seconds. 1S is tricky. Knowing when to land is a whole thing. Let me know in the comments what voltage you usually land at. Now, comparing it to the Meteor65 Pro, the Meteor65 just hits that sweet spot for indoor flying. I've had the M75 for a while, flown it indoors and outdoors, and yeah, it definitely feels more like an outdoor Whoop compared to the M65, which is way better for flying in tight spaces. If you do want to take it outside, make sure there's zero wind. I mean, zero. Otherwise, it's not going to be fun. But when the conditions are perfect, indoors or outdoors, this thing rips. Seriously, it brought back the joy of Whoop flying for me. You can go anywhere, through every tiny gap. It just makes you smile. I'm running stock PIDs, and BetaFPV did a really solid job tuning it. I only changed my rates and tweaked the throttle curve a bit. Basically, made it feel more natural for my thumb, more linear around mid-stick. The frame feels solid, especially for indoor crashes. Not too worried about that. Same goes for the motors and props. They've been holding up just fine. And the Matrix Flight controller, also solid. What does worry me a little is the O4. Like, can it survive all the crashes? That thing's not exactly built like a tank. Oh, and shout out to the BEC on the Matrix board. It's doing work. Even when the voltage dips under 3.2 volts, the O4 keeps chugging along. I've seen as low as 2.8 volts in my OSD, and the video didn't even blink. I'm running my O4 at just 25 milliwatts. 1, to save battery, and 2, I mean, you're flying a Whoop. You're never far from yourself. Cranking it up is just wasting power and heat, and that O4 pulls a lot of amps. If I could change one thing about the Meteor65 Pro, I'd want a bit more punch. Maybe beefier motors, maybe a stronger battery, or maybe just shave off a couple grams somewhere. I see weight-saving potential in the motor wires and connectors, even 2 grams. That's like 7% weight reduction, and every gram we shave brings us closer to analog performance. Or hey, what if we ditch the prop guards completely? I've been thinking about designing a frame that just covers the essentials. See how much we can cut down? Would you guys be into that? You think PLA Plus could hold up for something like that? So yeah, bottom line, the Meteor65 Pro is a solid little Whoop. And finally, a DJI Whoop that actually works. For indoor flying, especially during winter, I'd say this one's a must-have. Outdoors? Meh. I'd only take it out when there's basically no wind. Otherwise, you're just fighting the breeze the whole time. And honestly, if you do want to fly outside, you're probably better off with the Meteor 75. The 65 is just so light, there's not much it can do to push back against the wind. You're constantly correcting, but hey, that's kind of the deal with every Whoop this size, right? If you really want outdoor fun with a Whoop, even in light wind, go for a 2S or 3S rig. Something with more power. I've flown the Cetus X in breezy weather before, just saying. But for tight indoor flights, especially in small apartments, the Meteor65 Pro is hands down my top pick right now. It's the first DJI Whoop from BetaFPV that truly delivers, and I'm honestly excited to see what they'll come up with next. Alright, let me know down in the comments what you think about the Meteor65 Pro. And hey, would you be into a video where we strip out all the unnecessary weight and see how much performance we can squeeze out of this thing? Oh, and before I forget, it doesn't cost you anything, maybe just like 3 seconds of your time, to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. That's basically how you pay me for the hours, sometimes days, of work that go into these videos. Thanks for hanging out, and I'll see you in the next video.